Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 1 of Behind the Practice, where we highlight people, products, and processes that are serving the dental community. I'm your host, Alicia Dieujuste, and the managing director over DentiMax practice management software. And this podcast is brought to you by the company DentiMax. And today I am so excited for episode 1 to be interviewing Micah Huish. Micah is the director of imaging support. And obviously we know each other, Micah. How long have we worked together now?
I've been here for about 8 years and you were here before me. So it's been a long time.
8 years it is.
Yes.
So I've been here just a little bit longer, 12 years. And I think what some people don't know, they may not be familiar with DentiMax yet, but DentiMax has now been in business for 22 years, which is basically the length of my entire dental career.
Most of the employees that work here, they were born after we started. So
it's
been a great journey to be a part of. So
absolutely. So talking about journeys, obviously DentiMax, it started as a practice management software company 22 years ago, founded by David Arnett and Lee Varney. And basically after about 4 or 5 years, they decided to add the first sensor into the business. So I would say if people know DentiMax, they know us mostly because of the sensor side of the business. And how, we've been able to offer that product into the industry. Do you know a little bit about that history of how the sensors came to be, or can you take us on that journey of the sensor market?
Yeah, so interesting enough is my little brother actually worked here when they first started when they first started getting into the sensor industry. Jim Ramey, he kind of was the one that helped David and Lee kind of go into that. They started out with the sensor back when it was still like the CCD style sensors were kind of the more common style sensors. Mm-hmm. They sold those for a while, and then they switched to the DentiMax Dream sensor probably, I want to say, about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And they've been with that sensor. We still continue to carry that sensor. It's a great sensor, but we've just continued to add more products and continue to grow in that sensor market. So we've really had a lot of time and development to make sure that our products and all of our the image quality that we can produce and our software and all of that is very, very high quality. So it's been like a long time coming, but I think that we're finally there where we're competing against some of those bigger companies out there.
Yeah. And to your point, I think the people who don't know us yet, for context, I think it's really useful to know that we are privately owned and self-funded. And what that means is we don't have the same commercial impact that some of the giants out there might have. We don't have boots on the ground walking into your office trying to sell dental chairs and everything else, and offering sensors and software. So I think it's kind of useful for the audience to know that because we're privately owned and self-funded, the choices that we make directly are driven by how we help our customers.
Yes.
And how it helps the overall business.
Feedback from customers is huge to us, what they like, what they dislike. It's what we push our development team to look into to better help all of those customers.
Right, exactly. And the great thing about that is, since I've been in the dental industry 23 years, I've seen some of the side effects of what happens when giant corporations have large boards of directors and they have to get approvals from other people, and, kind of very financially driven decisions versus customer-oriented decisions. And that crosses over to both of our departments. And I love that when we need something, we could go knock on the owner's doors and just have that direct conversation and not worry about the red tape behind, how to get something across the line for a customer of ours. So I think that's
still
really
small business.
Useful
we're a growing business. We've been very successful, but we definitely still are seen as a small business, which everybody that works here loves it. Like you said,
Yep.
everybody's kind of close knit community, and it's been a great experience for me. It's one of my favorite jobs I've ever had. So.
Yeah, me too. So, did you get started here because of your brother? Is that how you fell into
No,
tax
actually, the
or?
interesting thing is I actually was looking to do medical sales, and I
Okay.
was informed by a family friend that there's this company that was looking for a sales representative over a territory, and so I applied and was kind of like, "What's going on?" Took a long time to hear back. Then I found out I had the wrong email. So then I finally got the right email
Mhm.
and emailed out, and they said, "Yeah, come down and interview." So I went down and interviewed, and then I was told that they had just actually hired somebody for that position the week before.
Shucks.
But they were, then the owner of the company says, "But we'd like to offer you a position in our IT department." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I don't know. That's not really what I was looking for." And they're like, "Oh, well, your little brother used to do it and he was so good at it." And I was like, "Oh, what?" And so they kind of connected the dots. And it's actually, to be honest, I've had two cousins and a brother that worked here before I even knew.
Oh,
Yeah. So kind of a family industry, I
family
guess.
tradition. You're like,
Yeah.
rite of passage. You want to grow
Yeah,
up, you
so
have
I
to
went
work at
home right
DentiMax.
away, told my brother, I was like, you won't believe this. I just went and interviewed at this company called DentiMax, and he was like, I used to work there. And so it's a lot different from when he worked here. When he worked here, like I said, it was just the barely starting the
There's
imaging
probably
side.
five people here.
Yep, yep,
Oh, that's such a great story. And what a
yeah,
random coincidence that you ended up working at the same place of all these family members.
yep,
That's really fun. And so, knowing you were kind of like leaning towards the sales side to begin, and like you weren't initially feeling tech, how do you feel now? Because you're the director of imaging support, which obviously indicates you're super invested on the tech side. So, tell me
yeah.
about your journey into the tech side of things.
I would not want to go back to sales. I'll just put it that way.
I get
So
that.
we have a lot of pressure. Sales has a lot of pressure. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
we have a lot of pressure on the tech side. I've always felt very strongly that if you have a good tech support team that's
Hmm.
able to actually give solid technical advice, solid technical support in a quick, timely manner,
Yep.
that's what our company is pushing for. Right now, we actually have a contest every single week for our techs to be able to get to go home a little bit early if they hit their numbers or anything like
Woohoo.
that. So we're really pushing to keep those call times down, help customers quickly, make sure that they get the proper fixes for their problems so that they're
Hmm.
not having to continually call back
Yep.
every time. So there's different types of stress that goes into it than the sell side, but I
Sure.
love it. I've learned so much in the dental field. I love to try and guess if it's a caries or a cavity when I'm looking at X-rays with doctors. I'm usually right. Sometimes I'm wrong, but I just love it. I wouldn't go back to sales for sure.
That's great. And so when you have an opportunity to look at an x-ray, you're like, "Oh, that patient's got an abscess there. I hope they like they
Yeah,
must be in some pain." You know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of fun the stuff you pick up along the way just
yes,
through being in the environment. Like, I did front office administration through a consulting firm for 11 years. And some of the stuff I learned, I was like, oh, yeah, they need to increase their vertical dimension and they should be wearing a night guard. And like, just the stuff you learn is
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Um, and so much fun.
Yeah, like I was really surprised at how interesting I found most of the information.
Hmm. Yeah,
It
it's
really
a.
does make you kind of think, and I
Mhm.
didn't realize how much there was actually in the industry, like just different, tools and equipment and all of that. So it's been a great time.
Yeah. And so much new stuff coming out,
Yes.
especially right now with AI really starting to get some adoption going on. Just in general in the world, I think average people are really starting to accept and adopt AI technology. But
Yeah.
to see how that translates over into smarter tools and faster tools and things that we could really leverage in the dental industry, it's a really exciting time. And frankly, it's one of the reasons I decided to start this podcast now because there's so much out there that I wanted to highlight and bring awareness to what other people and other products and what other companies are doing in the dental industry so that it can help the dental offices, think outside the box a little, work smarter, not harder,
Yeah.
serve their patients better because they don't have to worry as much about the tech side. So that's kind of like how I landed on even starting this podcast.
I think it's a great idea. We here at DentiMax really appreciate the idea that you had. So
Awesome. So tell me what you love the most about what you're doing now, because I know that you've done regular imaging support. You've helped with the try before you buy team. And maybe, for the people not familiar with DentiMax and the sensor program, tell us a little bit first about the try before you buy team and what
okay.
we do differently than some of maybe the other companies out there.
Yeah, for sure. So the Try Before You Buy team is run by a small group of guys here. And what we do is we actually will send you a sensor. We have three different products, the Dream sensor, the Pro sensor, and the Open sensor.
I
So
actually
whichever
have a
product.
dream right here.
Yep, and we have a Pro right here. I don't have the Open sensor with me, so we're
Nice.
short that one, but that's okay.
That's okay.
So we definitely what we do is we send out that product, whichever one you want. Sometimes people want to try more than one of them, and so we
Mhm.
send those out at absolutely no cost to you. It's completely free. We'll ship it out to you guys. We'll install it in your office. We'll let you guys actually use the sensor. Let your staff feel it, see it, try it, see how it functions in your software. Make sure that you're happy with the image quality. Make sure you're happy with how the sensor feels, comfort level, all of that. It's super important.
Yep.
And so we let you really get a feel for it. And then after you've tried it, then if you want to buy it, great, you can go ahead and purchase it. If you decide that it's not for you or you're just not ready at this time, you can go ahead and send it back again, completely free, no charge to you. So it's
Yeah.
been a great program. We've had a very good success with it.
Mhm.
Just because of how quality our products and our images are. We have an award-winning image, and we've just have done a lot, like I said in the beginning, to kind of build these products and make them work well for customers.
Yeah.
We have a very high success rate with this Try Before You Buy program. So I challenge you, if you guys want to try one of our sensors or just see something new, even if you're not fully ready to buy it this time, reach out to one of our sales reps. Do you have a specific rep for your territory? Talk to them, get the information. It's a one-page document, and the sensors are on their way. It's super simple, super quick and easy.
That's great. And, before I started working here, and obviously I wasn't on the clinical side in a dental office, but I never heard of a company offering a free trial over a piece of hardware specifically. Like software is easy. People give away free software trials all the time. Hardware, you're actually shipping something out,
Yeah.
putting that product in someone's hands where they could potentially break it. Patients bite down on things and stuff happens, but like to me, it was unheard of, before I started working here that we actually did that. Are there lots of companies that send out free trials, or did
Is
we
actually
pioneer that?
becoming Yeah, it's becoming more common, I feel, but we definitely have been doing it for many, many years. We have seen some of the other companies, I think, kind of follow in our footsteps that they
Hmm.
are going that way, where
Yeah,
they're giving out the trials. Most of them do where you have to pay for it and then you have a
right.
money back, which that's still great. There's nothing wrong with that, but this is
Sure.
no cost to you. It's completely free until you decide that you want to buy it. And we know
Yeah.
you're going to because it's a great product. So at
Yep.
least I hope you're going to, I should say. And so that's why we send it out for free, let you try it. But yeah, it's been a great program. To kind of go on to your next question
Yeah.
about that, that's actually one of my favorite things about working here is getting to get involved with new softwares that I've never seen before,
Hmm.
and challenge myself, push myself to try and get it to integrate or work a way that the office wants it to get it to go in, and so that their workflow doesn't change and that it's just
Right.
easy transition for them.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing, is trying to push myself to become better and make the product work for everybody. So
Yeah, definitely. And I have to say, like, a lot of people misunderstand or mislabel like what the sensor actually has to interact with. And
Yes.
so, can you help clarify for the audience what software do DentiMax sensors actually work with and work, inside of? And I know there's Twain drivers that are sometimes necessary and sometimes there's a more native experience. Can you explain the difference between all of that and just act like we don't know anything?
Yeah. So not everybody uses the same lingo or terminology. Here at DentiMax, we always consider the best option for your practice is to be a native capture option where it's working natively in the software, where the software was designed to work with that product or that sensor. And so if you imagine, a native capture, it's what the software was designed to use. So we have spent a lot of time and effort in developing native capture modules for a lot of the softwares, pretty much all the major softwares on the market. You have like Dexis, CareStream, Dexter's Ascend, Curve, a lot
Yeah.
of the ones that you've heard of all the time. Our sensor goes right in there, what we call natively with our native capture module. So it works seamless. In most cases, your workflow isn't
Hmm.
going to change almost at all. It's going
Wow.
to function very similar to what you're used to.
Hmm.
So that's one option. The other option that you mentioned is a Twain.
Right.
So Twain is just it's kind of a basic term. It actually, if I can remember what it stands for, is like technology without an interesting name is what it actually stands for.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
That's the
yeah,
real
kind of
acronym.
yes. So I don't know who made that up but it's what it does is it allows for pretty much any device, not necessarily sensors.
Yeah.
Printers use them all the time. A
I've
lot of
heard of
times
it.
Canon
Yeah.
use them.
Yeah. I've heard of it in regards to printers, and I kind of always wondered, like, all right, it's some connection piece. Like, how does this?
That's a great way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the piece that allows for the equipment to
Hmm.
function in something else's software. So, for example, you have, let's say, DentiMax imaging software,
Hmm.
and you're using a third-party sensor from somewhere else.
Yeah.
You may have to use a Twain to capture into the DentiMax imaging software
Hmm.
because it's not native. The software wasn't created specifically for that product.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
So,
So, so we've got the DentiMax sensor. It works natively inside. You just rattled off a ton of different software systems. And so to call them out again, you said Dentrix, Curve. Tell me what else.
EagleSoft,
Mhm.
Dexis, CareStream, pretty much every software on the market that accepts 2D products,
Hmm.
we can go into. I don't, right now, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that we can't capture into.
Okay.
Um, there may be a few, but right now, like I said, I can't think of anything, whether it's through Twain, direct capture, we're going to be able to function in your software.
Hmm. And so that's why internally I've heard this said a lot of times, but we have the most or one of the most open sensors out there because it
Yes.
works into any pretty much
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think a lot of people misunderstand or misconstrue. The sensor works inside of the imaging software,
Yes.
and then the imaging software works with the practice management software. A lot of
Yes.
times on the practice management side, people will call and say, does my sensor work with your software? And they're referring to the practice management software. And I'm like, well, none of that matters. What's your imaging software? So when you're thinking about that tech stack, you've got the practice management software that shows the x-rays. The x-rays come from the imaging software, and the imaging software basically pulls it from the sensor. So just for a little education, in case somebody out there didn't know that, it's always nice to kind of define those three layers.
Yeah, we hear it all the time on our side as well. They'll call in and say, "Hey, I use this imaging software," and it's actually their
Mhm.
practice management that they're talking about.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah, so that's important distinction. Although
Yes.
we've kind of gotten used to going down that rabbit hole with people at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell us, obviously, the DentiMax sensor, the Dream sensor, and now we have the Pro sensor. Tell us a little bit about their ratings, how they've been categorized by some of the experts, and how we get that image that we're getting. Tell us about the image.
Cool. Yeah. So the way that our sales reps kind of have determined our sensors and how they're priced actually as well.
Yeah.
We have kind of our open sensor, which is kind of more of our cost-effective sensor. Great sensor. The open sensor has a great image quality. It works seamlessly into just the same amount of softwares as the Dream and the Pro. It's just a little bit lower price point. Reason for that is it does have a little bit lower resolution image, but we are still trying to improve that. We're working on that. It's still a great high quality diagnostic image.
Sir, would you recommend that more for like a startup dentist who's on a super tight budget, just needing a sensor to get started that he can diagnose
We
off
see
of?
that, yeah, we see that all the time.
Okay.
People use them as backup sensors. There are a lot of offices that will use them as their main sensor because, like I said, they are a great sensor. They are slightly larger than kind of the average sensor. So if you're imagining what most sensors come as a size 2, the open sensor is a little bit larger than that. But because of that, it allows for you to easily take, get your x-rays, place it, all of that stuff. It's an all around great product for its price point. We have a lot of people that continue to come back and buy year after year because of its price point. So the next one on that list would be the Dream sensor. That's the one that we've been selling for about 15 years. That's right there. That's the one that a lot of our sales reps say that it's kind of our most popular product, partly just because it's been around for 15 years.
Right.
It's the middle price point. So it is the one that is known for having an award-winning image. It was the first one that we started developing with and started working with. And it works very, very well in pretty much all of the softwares out there. This one is a little bit more comfortable than the open sensor. Both the open sensor and the Dream sensor are considered some of the thinnest CMOS sensors on the market. So that really does go into comfort level and helping position and place that sensor. You imagine somebody that has a very large tori or that has a really large gag reflex. That will allow for them to be a little bit more comfortable with those sensors to be able to place them. They both come in multiple sizes. I should have said this with the open sensor comes in a 0, a 1, a 1.5, and a 2.
Wow.
The Dream, so pretty much all, any size you need. Then the Dream sensor is just the size 1 and the size 2.
Which I've got both right here, just for comparison's sake.
Yeah, they are considered some of the smallest and thinnest in their sizes for the Dream sensor. So they're very comfortable. They have their round, smooth, beveled edge, so it's very comfortable for your patients. And then our newest product, the DentiMax Pro sensor, it comes in a size 1, size 1.5, and a size 2. These sensors are a little bit thicker than the Dream and the open sensor, but they also are known to be more durable. So as of today, this is one thing that we have been very proud of with our Pro sensor. We've been selling it for just under a year now. And in that year, we have not had to send any of them back to our factory for warranty issues. So we're very proud of that. We've really worked hard to keep that. They're very durable. They last. The image quality is on par with the Dream sensor. We have sent it to multiple different people. A lot of the doctors that we worked with said it's the best image quality they've ever seen. So it also has a great, great sensor. All 3 of them come with a 3-year manufacturer warranty.
Oh, that's really good.
Which is one of the it's one of the highest in the industry. Most of the time you're getting a 1 or a 2-year. So this is a 3-year, no questions, manufacturer defect. Anything that's manufacturer problem, it's going to be replaced for free.
Okay. Can you give us an example of what's a manufacturer defect? Just this isn't my world necessarily. So it'd be good for education just to understand what's manufacturer and what falls outside of that.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll start off with what falls outside of that. So if somebody were to bite down on the sensor
Yeah.
very hard and cause the sensor to crack or snap, nobody covers that under a warranty. That's
Sure.
caused by a mistake, someone to beat down on it. Let's say you roll over it on your chair, something like that. You put it through the autoclave. We've heard some pretty crazy stories with what happens
Whoops.
to these sensors.
Yeah.
Yes. Whoops.
Yep.
There you go.
We should do
So
a
those,
contest. Send us your best sensor destruction story.
or the pictures of them. Sometimes they look
Yeah.
like chew toys. It's pretty bad.
Okay.
So, but those would be considered non-manufacturer defects.
Sure. Got
A
that.
lot of time manufacturer defects would be artifacts in the image that
Okay.
maybe didn't get fixed by the calibration file. Or sometimes there's something called delamination that can sometimes happen, where over time the sensors can kind of start to separate the internal module. It's pretty rare, but it can happen. That would be another indication of, in most cases, what would be considered a manufacturer defect.
Okay.
You can get delamination by having too much compression damage, but usually that's going to be an older sensor that's lasted, been bitten down on. So those are kind of the two separate sides. Manufacturer defects are problems with the actual hardware themselves that were not caused by external sources.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any stories or any fun facts of how long someone's been using, since the Dream sensor has been out there the longest for us? How
Yes.
long someone's had a Dream sensor that's still kicking?
So I actually worked with a guy 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was switching to our new imaging software. No, sorry, Friday. When was Friday? Yes, 4 days ago, not 3 days ago, 4 days
Okay.
ago. And he was talking about the Dream sensor that he had, and he was just getting it installed. He had just bought a Pro sensor. He was getting that installed. And then he said, what about the first sensor that I ever bought?
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, which one is that? And that was one of ours. That was the very first one. It was called the DentiMax 3, and it was
Okay.
really, really old. It was the first sensor we ever sold. And it was, I believe, 18 years old, between 17 and 18 years old. And he's still using it. He still loves it. He says it works great.
Oh my gosh.
So that's probably the longest I've ever heard. But we hear it all the time. We get, 10 plus years all the time.
Wow.
As long as you take care of the sensor, it's
Mhm.
going to take care of you. That's what I always tell people. The
Yeah.
better you treat your sensor, store it properly,
Yep.
put it where it goes,
Right.
clean it properly, all of those basic things, the
Yeah.
sensor is going to last much longer and allow you to get your full benefit from it.
That's great. And so to that point, what's the average life expectancy of a sensor? If you were just going to
So
say, like, let me set an expectation for you, what does that look like?
5 years.
Okay.
So that's where we came up with our 5-year protection plan. Is most sensors should last you about 5 years. Again, as long as you treat them well. Again, they usually can go longer, but if you get 5 years out of your sensor, you usually have made your money with it. You've benefited from it. And at that point, you should be able to hopefully get a new sensor and continue moving forward with those products.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't touched on that yet. Tell me about that warranty. What's the name of that warranty or program, and give us some details about it.
So the 5-year protection plan is a great product that in most cases covers, well, not in most cases, in all cases, excuse me, it covers for any damage at all. So anything in that first 5 years, if the sensor breaks, or let's say it still works, but it's just pretty beat up, like talked about, some of them look like chew toys.
Right.
Or let's say the wire has been kinked so many times that it just doesn't always connect very well. Any reason at all, you can use your 5-year protection plan to get a brand new sensor at a very discounted price. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's kind of what a lot of other companies do, where they make you pay monthly for that protection.
Okay. Yeah.
We go the opposite. We don't make you pay at all for that monthly payment. Depending on the promotions and stuff that are going on, sometimes that protection plan is completely free.
Wow.
Other times it's discounted. It just kind of depends on the promotions. But what it allows for you to do is have that really, really comfortable knowledge that you get this sensor replaced at a very discounted price, and you only have to pay that discounted price if you need it. So other
Yeah.
companies charge you whether you use it or not. We
Hmm.
only charge you if you need it.
That's awesome. I know if I were putting thousands of dollars forth on a piece of equipment, I would want to feel comfortable knowing that I was protected. So that makes
Yes.
total sense.
Yeah.
To that point, what's the price range starting from the open sensor, the least expensive, the smallest one, I guess, would
Yep.
be how we price that, up to the most expensive sensor? What's our range look like?
So the open sensor size
Hmm.
0 and 1, those are gonna, again, depending on promotions that we have
Sure.
running, are gonna be ranging from around $2,000 to $2,500.
Wow.
So extremely low price.
That's amazing. Some people are
Yeah.
paying like 10 and 12 grand for a sensor.
Yes. It's
Okay.
when I that's one of the biggest surprises to me when I first started here, is hearing how much one of those digital X-ray sensors
Yeah.
costs.
Yep.
So if you're watching this video and you aren't in the dental field, the thing that you get put in your mouth to have those X-rays taken, just realize that that thing is usually around $6,000 to $10,000. It's crazy.
So don't buy
So
it.
yes, don't bite it. We never want that. So the the open sensor size 2 and 1.5, they usually are a little bit closer to the 25 to 3,000 mark.
Okay.
Then you have the
Great
dream
value.
sensor.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all still super inexpensive compared to a lot of the other products on the market that
Yep.
are in comparable levels to their quality.
Okay.
Then you have the dream sensor size 1, and
Hmm.
that one is usually around 25 to 3,000 as well.
Hmm. Okay.
Size 2 is going to be usually around 3,500 to 4,000.
Okay.
Then you have the
Great.
pro sensors,
Yep.
the size 1, 1.5, and 2, and they usually range between 3,500 up to 5,000, just kind of, again, depending on the promotion.
Hmm. Okay. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
when we're talking about the dream sensor and the pro sensor, I know there's like differences in how the image shows up and the preference over the image. I've heard you talk about this a lot,
Yeah.
how, different doctors prefer their images in different ways. So if someone's not familiar with the dream sensor or the pro sensor, what sensor images would be the closest thing to kind of help them equate each of those sensors to another brand they may be familiar with?
Great question. Actually, that's a very good question. So, the Dream sensor has always been compared more to like a Schick 33, Schick Elite sensor
Okay.
in image quality. They
Hmm.
kind of have that more of that style, that look
Yeah.
compared to other sensors on the market.
Hmm.
The Pro sensor is going to be very similar to like your Gendex sensors or your Dexis sensors. That's what people compare those to. So you have Schick with the Dream sensor, you have Dexis Gendex with the Pro sensor. So they're going to give you very similar images to what you have seen with those type of sensors.
Okay. And speaking of those images and the award-winning images that we get, what awards and which sensors have what awards? I guess is the best way to ask that question.
So we got a reward from, I'm totally blanking on his name.
Is it Christensen?
Christians, yes, there you
Gordon
go. Christensen.
Christensen.
So he gave an award back then for the Dream sensor. It was probably about, I want to say 5 years ago, so if I can remember correctly.
Okay.
And then we've won it a couple times since then. I think the first one we ever won was closer to like 8 years ago.
Hmm.
And then the Pro sensor's still too new.
Oh,
So we
okay.
haven't really had any awards with that I know of.
Got it.
They could have come to, people above me that I just don't know about. But
Hmm.
the image quality of that one, like I've said a few times, I've heard more compliments on that sensor since we've sold it in the last year,
Yeah.
that people just really, really like that image.
That's great.
So,
And I know it hasn't been in circulation long enough for me to hear the feedback trickle over, but I definitely have heard there's like this cult following for the Dream Sensor
yeah,
image. And the people who have used it for any length of time, they love it. And I get to
Yes.
hear that even though I'm on the practice management side, they'll comment, "Man, I love my dream sensor." And I'm like, "Good." I'll
The
make sure to
dentist that
tell
that
everyone.
I go to actually uses the Dream Sensor. Yeah, okay, there you go. So yeah, he uses the Dream Sensor. He loves it. He tried the Pro Sensor. He actually said it was very difficult for him to make the decision because
Yeah.
at first he's like, the Dream Sensor, I just love it. I'm used to it. It's what I've seen. It's what I've been using for so long. But I do see some of the strengths and the benefits of the Pro Sensor. And so he's kind of now in the air of what he wants to go with next. So it'll be interesting to see what he chooses.
How funny. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's really awesome information to have. And I love that we have awards. It's always fun just to have awards for things.
Yeah.
So tell our audience, how do you actually get the best image quality? If you were giving them tips, give us the tips, give us the insider trading.
Sounds good. So what I always recommend, the first thing is to take a look at your x-ray unit. Make
Okay.
sure that your x-ray unit is set to the recommended x-ray settings for this device that you're using. Most companies will have a recommended exposure time or
Mm-hmm.
exposure settings that they recommend that you use. We all have heard of the Allura, so as low as reasonably acceptable is what I
Okay.
say it is. Achievable is actually the real thing, but
Okay.
acceptable is what I say because you want it to still be an acceptable image that you can diagnose with. And so
Right.
you want to use as little radiation as possible where you can still diagnose and make sure you're giving your patients the proper care. So
Okay.
that's a huge thing that people need to remember. Not all sensors take the same amount of radiation. Some
Mm-hmm.
need more, some need less to get to that high quality image.
Okay.
Next thing is to be consistent. Slow down,
Mm-hmm.
have your staff be consistent. When they're trying to rush through these exams, one, it makes the patients feel uncomfortable because they feel like they're just trying to be rushed in, rushed out, kind of just a number rather than
Right.
a person. So slow down, take your time, be consistent, pay attention to your cone distance, how close you're getting to the face, and then be consistent with that. Try and get that same distance every time.
Mm-hmm.
Line up your shots so that you're lining up with the sensor. Don't become ring dependent. If you become ring dependent, that can be a problem. Always shoot to where you know the sensor is going to be, not where the ring you think that it's going to be or the ring says it's going to be. Make sure you're shooting where the sensor is. Some of the probably the older hygienists and staff that have taken x-rays for a long time, back when you didn't really have the rings and rods and stuff like that. A lot of them still today don't even use them. They just gotten so comfortable that they just use just the bite block. They place the sensor and the bite block in the patient's mouth. They know exactly where it is, aim and shoot. And if you can get comfortable like that, where you're able to do that, that's
Yeah.
going to help get your images to look better. Just exposure time, slow down, take your time, line up your shots, and then repeat that process. The next thing is to use the proper filters. So that's something that we at DentiMax would love to help you with when you're using our product. So we have a whole bunch of different filters and things that we can use in different softwares
Mm-hmm.
to adjust the image to your preference.
And
One
that's
other thing
part
that's
of that
really,
dialing in process that we
we
do
call that
here.
a dial-in, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And so the dial-in is that's when we go over what we recommend for exposure time.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we kind of tell you, what we see when you're taking x-rays. That's when we ask for your feedback. Is it too light, too dark, not
Mm-hmm.
sharp enough, too grainy? All those different things that make the image what you want to be able to diagnose. And
Yep.
so it's been a very, very kind of eye-opening thing because every doctor likes an image that is different. There is
Right.
normally kind of an overall arching, that's a good looking x-ray.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that's what they want their x-ray to look like.
Right.
So yeah, it's some like really dark images.
Yeah.
Depending on what you do for your specialty, You
Yep.
may want it really sharp so you can see the apex of the root very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people like, I feel like a lot of hygienists like it a little bit lighter so that they can see, you know, just build up and, you know, stuff like that. And so really depending on who you're working with, what their specialty is,
Yeah.
that's kind of where we have a really strong benefit over a lot of these other companies.
Yeah.
That when you plug in our sensor, we help you set it up, we help
Mm-hmm.
you adjust it to what you want, and then you can start using it and taking those x-rays. It's not just what you get is what you get right out of the box. It's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
our approach is one size fits all.
Yeah.
You get the sensor, we'll adjust it so that it will work with your practice and the guy down the street who does something completely different than you.
So that's kind of like the onboarding experience, is how I would equate that, you know, in
Yes.
the practice management terms, like where we're going through and helping people set up their software and you know, how do you want your calendar to look and all those kind of things. And so your team, they do that process with the trial sensors and the purchase sensors. Anyone who gets a sensor for
Correct.
any reason, you're doing that with them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to do that, that has an active support plan, we'd be
Yeah.
happy to jump in and make those adjustments.
And I think the other question I have about that is, if they have one sensor that they share between two rooms, are you setting it up per room?
You can, but in
Okay.
most cases, you do not have to. In
Okay.
most cases, you go into one room, you get the image looking how you want it, and then
Mm-hmm.
we can just copy and paste those settings across the board. There
Got
is
it.
going to be slight variations depending on if you have a lot of different x-ray units or types of x-ray units.
Mm-hmm.
But in most cases, as long as the sensor receives a very similar amount of radiation, the
Mm-hmm.
image should look pretty similar no matter what. And
Okay.
so as long as your staff is all pretty consistent with their technique, their distance, the exposure times, you don't really have to do that in each room. It's just
Mm-hmm.
usually a one and done.
But they could if they wanted to. So to your point, if there's a hygienist who prefers the image a bit brighter than the dentist, and that hygienist always works out of the same room, you
Yes,
could dial that in separately for that
of
person.
course. Yeah. And
Okay.
we've done that. That's actually, it's not
Yeah.
super common, but yes, it does happen occasionally.
Okay, awesome. You mentioned the ring scenario and kind of aiming and shooting and all of that. I know we offer a handheld device, the Cocoon, right? And
Yes.
so I wonder how that compares against like a traditional x-ray arm, not being someone who's taken x-rays but had them taken on me.
Yes.
I kind of picture like trying to hold this ray gun and trying to shoot it at the right spot. So, do the same sort of criteria apply when you're talking about how to get the best image? Does that also apply over to the Cocoon handheld units?
Yes, it does. So one
Okay.
big difference that a lot of offices I don't think fully understand
Mm-hmm.
is that handhelds almost I don't think there's any handheld that I can think of that has a higher MA than 3.
Okay.
They also usually have a KV of usually 60 or 65
Mm-hmm.
as their max. And
Okay.
so because they have a lower KVP and a lower MA than a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the wall units, usually you have to fix that by increasing the amount of time that the X-ray unit is exposing.
Okay.
So you're trying to make them about the same calculation,
Mm-hmm.
the MA, the exposure time, and then the KVP. As
Mm-hmm.
long as the same around the same amount of radiation is hitting that sensor, it doesn't matter whether it's a wall unit or a handheld X-ray unit, you can still get a very high quality diagnostic image.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it all just depends on how much radiation hits that sensor.
Okay. Cool. I'm sitting here saying as if I know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, the KV, the
Well, okay, let me explain it. This
sounds
is how
great.
I always remember. This is how I kind of taught myself to remember.
Mhm.
So the KVP, the simple way of thinking of it is it's the speed. It's how
Okay.
powerful or the speed of the radiation.
How fast the
The-
bullet flies.
Yes, how fast
Okay.
the bullets are flying. So if you have a little bit higher KVP, it
Mhm.
usually has an easier chance to get through those more dense areas, your maxillary PA, stuff like
Okay.
that.
Got
The
it.
MA is the number. And again, they're not, don't take this as exact, but imagine a bunch of tiny little dots. The MA is how many of those little dots are going to be shooting out of the X-ray units.
Okay.
So once you have the speed and how many, then the time is the only thing that's left. So that's the exposure time. How long the radiation is going to be shooting out of the X-ray unit, how much, and how fast. And so those are kind of really simplified ways of remembering what the KVP, the MA, and the exposure time, what they actually do.
Cool. This feels like a whole science experiment to me.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty crazy, some of the stuff you learn.
How fun. So. That's great. Okay, so we talked about how to get the best image quality. Tell us how to get your sensor to last the 18 years
yes.
some of these doctors have got.
Yes. So we kind of talked a little bit about it earlier. Yeah. I would always recommend at the end of each day just doing a quick inspection of your sensors.
Okay.
When you're checking them out, look for damage, look for, bite marks on the wire, look for bent USBs, look for any problems or damage that may show that the sensor is starting to have issues. If you do that, then you can catch problems before they're too late. Next thing is going to be store them somewhere safe. So I have this little wall holder.
Okay.
So this is super, super cheap usually you can get them on Amazon. You can get them from a lot of the big dental exchange companies, but these are super, super good to have. You can stick them anywhere that you want. I always recommend that you stick them in a low traffic area. Not anywhere where patients are going to be able to walk by, especially if you see, pediatric. You don't want them to walk by and have that cord hanging down and yank on it. Yeah, it's just it's
yelling,
something that you're wanting to do.
Right.
So keep it somewhere safe. I do not recommend storing them in a drawer if possible, because we've just had too many incidences of people going to put them in the drawer, cable still hanging part of the way out, and they smash it, kink the wire, smash the USB, something like that. Okay. If you are going to store them in a drawer, just make sure that you're very cautious. Make sure the full sensor's there. Make sure that you have wrapped it up properly. When you're wrapping up a sensor, you want it to be really flat like this. So if you look at this, there's no kinks, there's no twist. It's just like a perfect circle.
Yep.
If you're going to put it in a drawer or anything like that, you want it to look like this so that there's no possibility of it getting tangled or anything like that.
Okay.
So another thing that's going to be really important is cleaning the sensor. So
please clean it.
When you clean the sensor, or when you're trying to keep the sensor clean, always use a sleeve for the sensor. Yeah. Some people prefer sleeving the sensor itself. Some people prefer sleeving the entire kit. So they put the sleeve over the entire kit, which also covers the sensor.
Okay.
That will help keep it clean from blood or, saliva, anything like that. And then once you're done with it, you're going to use something like this. So you can use Cavi wipes. There's a whole bunch of different brands of cleaning wipes that are out there for the medical field. The reason why we recommend using the wipes is because they're more diluted. So if you were to go out and get like true Cavi Side, which is in like the big gallon buckets, you wouldn't want to wipe that directly on your sensor or your products because it can damage them or it can discolor them, anything like that. You want to make sure that you're following the proper dilution so that it's diluted properly for cleaning the products. So this is another big mistake that we see all the time. So I'm going to actually show this part of it. So when you're cleaning a sensor, you're going to want to take the sensor and divide it into two parts, right? You have the head of the sensor, which is this part.
Okay.
And then you have the wire of the sensor.
Sure.
When you're cleaning the head, you'll just clean the head of the sensor, wipe it all, clean it all really good. But you're not going to be pulling down on the cable at all. It's going to be completely soft, but you're still cleaning it really well.
Okay.
Then when you're cleaning the wire, you're going to hold the sensor in one hand and you're not going to pull. You're going to slide across the wire, not pulling on the sensor. The worst thing that you can do when cleaning is pulling hard, which can cause damage to the connection to the sensor.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the spots that we see a lot of sensors start to fail, is
Yeah.
because they're yanked on so hard when they're cleaning
Right.
that it just causes damage. So hold the sensor, clean the sensor, hold the wire, clean the wire. They're two separate parts of a sensor when you're cleaning them. So
Okay. Good
that's another
advice.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes. One last thing when you're taking x-rays is I always like to tell people, if you're too scared to have your finger in that person's mouth, remember that's a $8,000 to $10,000 sensor you're putting in that patient's mouth.
Right.
So be cautious. Another trick that we've heard from a lot of offices that have made those sensors last, if you have a child or somebody that you think is most likely going to bite down on that sensor,
Mm-hmm.
you can use like an adult sized cotton swab, put it right here in the back of their bite so that it can't fully close. And that way you can still get your x-ray, but they can't fully bite down onto your sensor.
Oh, that's
So
smart. Yeah.
we've asked quite a few people, and those are some of the biggest things that we've been told. It's just to store them properly, treat
Mm-hmm.
them well, clean them daily, put them away and store them properly, and
Right.
then prevent bites as much as possible.
Be intentional with your sensor
Yes,
care.
yes,
Okay, so we talked a lot about the sensors. I know the imaging department has a plethora of other products, like I
we
mentioned, the
do.
cocoon. Tell us what else the imaging department has available to everybody.
Of course. So we have started kind of grow with our products that we sell and carry. We actually have a 3D pano and a 2D pano.
Woohoo!
We have a intraoral camera.
Okay,
We
need that
have
one.
a bunch of different positioning kits and different imaging softwares. We have a cloud, where we have actually two cloud versions of our imaging software. We have the on-prem version of our software. So we have a lot of different products out there
Yeah.
that can be beneficial to your office if it's the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in need of a product, obviously we would love to get the time to speak with you, give you what we can do for you, show you how it will benefit and help you.
Yep.
Just reach out to us, because most of our products are going to work just like our sensors. They work into most everything out there. And so it just makes it really simple. You buy the product, it works the same, and you love it.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. One of the things I think I appreciate a lot about the company is because going back to the beginning, we're privately owned and all of
yeah,
that. We work directly with our manufacturers. We don't have a middleman markup.
yes,
And so I think, people sometimes just see the price and think, oh, that's cheap. There must be something wrong with it. In reality, we just remove the markup for
yeah,
the middleman. And so we're able to offer, very similar products to some of the most expensive products out there, but at a much better rate because we're eliminating that extra fee we have to pay somebody else.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, tell us about the imaging software. So what products do we have that can work with DentiMax imaging? And I know you mentioned there's different imaging software. So what do you want to talk about related to the imaging? What's the best option to discuss?
So we have two different cloud imaging softwares. We
Okay.
have the DentiMax Cloud Capture,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sometimes known as DCC, DentiMax Cloud Capture.
Okay.
And that's a great product that works really well with our flow practice management. That's just been
Woohoo.
released probably about 2 years ago now, I guess.
Yeah, 2 years ago, believe it or not.
It's crazy how fast that went, huh?
So time flies.
So yeah, it works really well with flow. It
Mm-hmm.
integrates really seamlessly, everything like that. And then we also have our DentiView cloud software.
Okay.
They're very similar in kind of the way they're set up. They're
Mm-hmm.
sold in different packages depending on how large your practice is.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those are known as very open imaging softwares, meaning any 2D device on the market is going to work in there. There's not one product that I can't, again, I keep saying this, but I can't think of a product that doesn't work into those softwares.
Great.
So they're really seamless, really easy, really
Mm-hmm.
reliable. been around for a long time, and they've shown that they're great products.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know when you talk about what works in that, just for other people's knowledge, we're talking about obviously the sensor works
Yes.
in the software, but then we're talking about caries detection devices, intraoral cameras, scanners, 2D.
AI software, like we talked about in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
big one is the practice management. I
Mm-hmm.
had, for the first time in a long time, I was working with one of our Canadian customers, and they had a practice management that I've never heard of, and I can't even remember it to this day.
Yeah.
But it was like one of the first ones that I didn't know if we bridged into or not.
Yeah.
But we have the ability to get you the information to make a bridge very quickly. And so within a few days, they had a new bridge created from this practice management I've never heard of that is now working with our imaging software.
Amazing.
So from practice management to hardware products, everything. It's really great. We work with panoramic X-ray units.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that we can't really capture right now is 3D. So we don't have any of our own software besides for our 3D pano.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for the 3D pano itself. Our regular imaging software that we sell, DCC and DentiView Cloud Capture, they don't do 3D, but anything 2D is going to be able to work in there, work well in there. They're both really free-flowing software. So whether it's a direct capture or a native capture or a Twain, you're still going to have the really easy workflow, very minimal changes, no matter what product you bring into it. So if you already have existing intraoral photos, existing sensors, anything like that, you can still get our software, and that will work with your current hardware.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I mean, for a practice, I think a lot of people think if I switch this one thing, I have to switch everything.
Yes.
Which is one of the strengths of our entire company and product line. To your point earlier, is all of our products can work independently of the other products. You don't have to buy the whole suite of products from one place. You can, and obviously there's benefit to that. But it's not a necessity. So if you're not at a point where you can switch everything over, but there's something you really want to add to your tech stack, you can just pick the product and put it in. And what I love about you and your team, Micah, is that you guys are so straight up and direct about telling people, here's the benefit you're going to get when you do XYZ. You want to do da-da-da-da-da, here's the drawback in doing it that way. I'd recommend this instead. Like, you guys are really great about spitting the facts.
Well, thank you. We really do try. And that's one thing that I think is very important.
It is
knowing what you're getting.
Yep.
If you know what you get, you can trust the product, you can trust the person that's telling it to you.
Right.
You're going to have a better success rate with that product. If you go in where there's some kind of iffy or you're just not sure of it, then that's where things get hard. So I definitely am a very direct, let you know up front, and you make the decision then. So
yeah, absolutely. And to that point, I do want to take a second and highlight, your team. One thing people may not know is we're a US based company, and we all work together in the same office. We have a couple suites, but we all are here in the same building, literally. So tell us a little bit about your team.
It was one small room almost, and now it's expanded to multiple suites. It's great.
Yeah. So all of our support is in-house. Our development is in-house. Our account management team is in-house. And I think that really shows in how we work together between the two departments. Even though we're separate departments, we have separate support teams because naturally the products are so different. It makes sense to keep them separate. But we could walk over and talk to each other any time of day.
Yeah. And none of us are reading off of a script. That's what I feel like more and more companies are going to, that kind of script-based technical support. So you call somebody, you ask them questions, and if they don't have a script to answer that, you're not getting the right answer. And so all of our techs have been trained very well, have been doing this. I think right now, at least on the imaging side, but I think our shortest term employee right now is over 4 years, which
That's great.
when I first started, we were going through them pretty quick, and now we're able to train them. And so everybody here is a high quality, very knowledgeable tech that can
Yeah.
help you with answering basic questions about hardware, answering questions about software,
Yep.
and then also helping you set up your new products and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me what's next for the DentiMax imaging team.
So we kind of announced it a little while ago. We do have a new imaging software that is coming out. We're really excited about it. So it is getting close to the part where we're hoping to be able to release it in beta pretty quick here.
Woo!
Yes,
Yay,
it's been a long time
congratulations.
coming. So
Yeah.
it's going to be able to capture with all of our products and a lot of the main products right out the gate. So if you have a product that you've already used or that you guys want, and you guys want to be on the list to start out trying it out, please reach out to your territory rep. Let them know, hey, I want to be a beta tester, and we would love to have you. It's going to be a great software. Our development team kind of took a lot of what we as a company picked and choose. Well, this is a really good part of this software. This is a really good part from this software. And so we kind of combined a bunch of really, really good functions of a lot of other softwares to make our own software. So that's the next big thing for us.
Amazing.
We're obviously always wanting to continue to grow and expand in other products, other markets, anything that we can. So it's the sky's the limit for us right now. I think it's great.
It's so exciting. I think one of the things that I love the most is that we also, in addition to just taking what we think works best for clients, is we take the client feedback and we try and make that a reality every chance we get. So
yeah, we actually, in the last, I'd say, year, we've made 3 major changes to our DentiView software that we sell to update for specific needs of customers. And obviously we can't do that for every specific customer and every specific need.
Sure.
But we had heard these same requests multiple times. And so we said, okay, you know what? We've heard this enough times. This needs to happen. We went to our development team. They busted it out, and people are so happy with it. It's been great.
That's amazing. I love that. And it's been so fun working with you. And I really appreciate getting to know you better in this podcast today, too.
Yes.
Any last minute thoughts that you want to share with the audience? How can they get in touch with the imaging team?
Yeah, I would recommend going to our website, DentiMax.com. We have our own website, so you guys can go there, find out any information, our phone numbers, our contact. I would challenge you to go on there, look at our products, pick the one that you feel is going to work best for your needs, and try it. Just do the try before you buy program. It's completely free. See what products we have. Make us prove that what we're saying and that what we're doing is legitimate. We're not just saying stuff that's not true. We'll prove it to you. We'll get you that great looking x-ray. We'll make it work in your software, and you'll have a great product once you have all of that set up.
Yeah. The proof is in the pudding. There's no mystery. We ship it to you for free. You try it for free. We set it up for free, all of that. So really, there's no downside.
Yes.
You don't like
it's
it,
a
send it back.
one-page document, and the sensor's on the way. So call us. Let's try this, and let's get a new sensor in your office today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Micah. Micah Huish, everybody. I appreciate
Thank you for
joining
having me,
me.
Alicia. This was awesome.
Yeah, episode 1. We're down.
Episode 1 and done right now. Awesome. Next one coming soon.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, Micah. Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.